Hello, I'm Steve, and I've been thinking about this virus. This virus, they say it started in China. They say it started there and then it spread around the world. And I started to think, well, people were calling it a Chinese virus. I don't think viruses have nations that they stay in or identify with, or I've never heard a virus say to me, I'm Chinese, or I'm Russian, or I'm American. I don't think they do that. In fact, they don't even talk, really, do they? Well, then I started thinking, we're on this whole planet together, we're all the human race, and I found a book. 'Cause I always like books, and I really like children's books. And I really like folk stories. Whether they're true or not is totally up to you. That's not for me to judge. I'm just going to read you the book. And I happen to have this book, and it's called Wan Hu is in the Stars. And it's written by Jennifer Armstrong. She wrote the words. And the pictures were by a man named Barry Root. And there's the cover. I'm going to read you this book today, and I think I'm going to read a book every day, and just anyone, grown-ups, kids, anyone can read along with me and enjoy the story. Maybe you won't enjoy it. That's up to you again. But I'm going to read it to you. I think it's a pretty good story. Wan Hu is in the Stars. Make sure you can see it well here. The woman, Jennifer Armstrong, said this was in memory of her grandmother, Mary Catherine Armstrong, who, upon reaching the tender age of 67, which is actually 1 year younger than I am, decided to pack her bags and go to Taiwan, and she stayed there for a couple years. And then the illustrator, Barry Root, BVR, he wrote it's in memory of his Aunt Catherine Root. I'll make sure you can see the pictures, and I'll read along. Once upon a time, in a village near Beijing, there lived a poet named Wan Hu. Wan Hu wandered through his days with an absent mind, often writing his verses with water instead of ink. Wan Hu went about the town dressed in a dark blue robe patterned with lotus flowers. And he dropped scrolls here and there. That's where his poems were written. And he forgot his ivory signature chop there and his dropped scrolls here. And he would always give pleasant greetings to the pigs. He really liked the pigs. Honorable poet, the gardener said to Wan Hu one evening, why are you wearing only one shoe? Oh, so I am, Wan Hu replied. I was thinking of the stars, my good gardening friend. I wonder what fine matter they might be made of and what keeps them pinned up to the heavens. Well, the gardener just gazed silently at the evening stars and he shrugged. He didn't know. Wan Hu gathered his robe around himself and he walked off down the pebbled path, 1 foot bare and 1 foot shod. On the following day, Wan Hu put a copper rice pot on his head in place of his hat. Esteemed poet, said the gardener, permit me to say that you have made a small error in your dressing. The gardener indicated Wan Hu's head with a respectful glance, and then he bowed down. "Oh," said Wan Hu, taking off the pot and staring at it in surprise. "Again, I was thinking of the stars, my good gardener. I wonder how someone might travel among them, and what wisdom they might get from such a journey." The gardener looked silently at the sky, and he shrugged again. He didn't know. Wan Hu gathered his robe around himself, and he walked off across the wooden footbridge, the copper rice pot twinkling in the sunlight. On another day, soon afterwards, Wan Hu walked out in a steady rain, carrying his folded parasol. That's an umbrella. "Illustrious poet," the gardener said to him, "maybe you might want to open up your parasol? You'll stay a little drier." "Oh," said Wan Hu, opening it up with relief. "Again, I was thinking of the stars. What is wrong with me, my good gardening friend? But I wonder if maybe if I climb our mountain, I might find among the heavens what I'm looking for. For as you know, our mountain is very high." That does look like a high mountain. The gardener turned to look at the tall mountain. "You will certainly learn the answer if you climb above the mist and the clouds," the gardener said to Wan Hu. "Excellent thought," Wan Hu exclaimed. And gathering his robe around him, he set off to climb the mountain. The people of the village watched him go, and they just shook their heads. "Foolish poet," said the silk weaver. "Scatterbrain," said the landlord. There he goes. That night, many people waited for some sign that Wan Hu had reached the stars. But on the following day, Wan Hu returned. No, it's not high enough," he said, "but still, it's my only hope and one desire to be among the stars and to learn the secret of their majesty." His dark blue robe, patterned with lotus flowers, was pretty dirty from his climb, but he folded it around himself as always. "I wonder," he said to the gardener, "if by harnessing many birds, one might be lifted into the heavens by the power of their wings." "Oh, that might be the answer," the gardener agreed. "The cranes and geese go really high." So Wan Hu nodded thoughtfully, and he walked off along the paddy wall. The paddy is the rice paddy. That's where they grow the rice. On the following days, the people in the village saw Wan Hu making silk nooses and waiting for the birds to come. It sounds cruel, but he soon had many of the geese and cranes harnessed in this manner, and he tied the other end of their ropes to his hands. "Whew, this guy is crazy," said the rice merchant. "What a daydreamer," said a lady of wealth. "Honorable gardener," called Wan Hu, "please scatter the birds and make them fly, please." The gardener bowed to Wan Hu, and then he ran at the flock, and the geese and the cranes rose in a cloud of beating wings. But the geese went east, and the cranes went west, and all their combined strength was not enough to lift Wan Hu from the ground. He stood like a man with many kites, just staring at the sky. What nonsense, said a nanny. Well, I knew it would fail, said a student. So Wan Hu released the birds one by one from their ties, and he bowed to his neighbors and he just walked away. Soon after, the village celebrated the birthday of the emperor's mother. They were beating drums and waving flags, and the rocket makers lit up their special fireworks, and they burst like flowers and stars over the rice paddies, streaming right up into the heavens. Wan Hu stood on the footbridge, and he thought, with his robe flapping around his legs, "Aha! That's the answer I've been looking for." In the morning, Wan Hu went to the rocket makers and he bought 47 great big fireworks, the biggest that they had. And while the people of the village watched, he tied the rockets to a bamboo chair. "Oh, no, 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 you'll be burst like the petals of a chrysanthemum in the wind," cried a neighbor. "Please forget this foolishness. Stay here and just revere our ancestors," cried another one. And as evening fell, the crowds gathered around Wan Hu, and he gathered up his dark blue robe, patterned with lotus, and he sat in his chair. And then Wan Hu lit the 47 rockets. The crowd pulled back. Wan Hu waved to them all, and he turned his eyes to the heavens with a blissful smile. The rockets flashed, the chair and Wan Hu shot up into the sky and soon were lost to sight. Nobody spoke. A hush of surprise filled the village, and even the pigs stopped grunting. "Oh no, he must fall to the earth," whispered the gardener. "I'm afraid he will die." The people searched the night sky for Wan Hu, but there was no sign of him, and they waited for days, hoping to hear that the poet had returned to earth at some other village far away. "He was crazy," said the mason. "That's what comes of foolish dreams," said the fishmonger. But some of the people looked at the heavens at night, and there above the village was a sight never seen before. A pattern of stars, shaped like a lotus, blazed against the dark blue sky, right over the poet's empty house. And some believe that Wan Hu achieved his only hope and one desire. The gardener is sure that he did.